like what worked for you might be different than what might work for the next person. And so the question that I always ask somebody, and I want you guys to ask yourself this too, based upon things that you've done in your life, is the workout that you're currently doing and things that you've done in the past and maybe things that you're considering, is it going to make you better or worse? Because I see that a lot, and I call it interference, okay? And an example of that, about a year ago, I was working with a soprano with vocal dysphonia, okay? And so she absolutely loved to work out. She was really into fitness. She always had been. She was an athlete as well. But when she got into her vocal program and she started to sing more, at the same time, she was doing like HIIT training a few days a week. And she was back squatting a few days a week. And she found that when she would get done singing, she would have like tension everywhere up here, in her shoulders and stuff. And she would get to a point where it was hard to speak at the end of the day. Okay. And so the first thing that we did when she described her workout routine to me, I mean, she was doing a ton of stuff, a lot of things with bars on her back, a lot of things where she was holding weights, and really just a lot of things where she was creating a lot of excess tension, right? And so for her, the problem was, in my opinion, she was going into the event of singing with a ton of tension, right? And then she was reinforcing it with the activities that she was doing to teach her to create more tension. Okay, and so like one of the things that we'll talk about today is the ability to reduce tension as a skill. Okay, that's really, really important. And if you train properly, like some of the stuff like mat Pilates will help you to do that. It teaches your body to get open. It teaches your body to control, because you're not producing a massive amount of tension. You're producing just enough to be able to breathe well. Whereas if I put a barbell on my back and I compress everything down, I'm having to produce a lot of tension to control the barbell up and down. And so really what that did for her was it didn't allow her to stay open. It prematurely caused her to close her ribs, to tense, to over tense and pressurize when she was exhaling, okay? And so singing is controlled exhalation. For her, her exhalation was like, and when I listened to her breathe, it was like, like her breathing was so constrained, like it sounded like she was being almost suffocated. So we reduced some of the things that she was doing. We cut down her HIIT training to once a week. And then I had her switch from from front squats, which you can see with the barbell on her back there, to goblet squats with a kettlebell in the front. And the difference is that with the kettlebell, when I'm holding the kettlebell in the front, what that's doing is it's compressing the front and opening up the back. Whereas with the back squat, it's just compressing everything. It's making me arch my back and go like that. And it's just kind of crushing my body like a can. Okay. And within a few weeks, she was way, way, way better. Like we did some other stuff, but just because we made those changes to the way that she trained, she got better. And then we made adjustments to her training where we focused a lot more on aerobic endurance to build the capacity to stay open longer. And then eventually we started to cycle back in barbell training. But for her, she lacked the ability to stay open because she was creating so much compression and tension. Okay. And that's why I say, like, there's like what we like to do, and then there's what actually works for your body. Okay. And they're not necessarily the same thing, although you usually are going to feel really good if it's working well. And then if you're really sore all the time, that might not be the best thing, because, your goal is to be, you're a singer first and a training person second, so that's what I always also say to my, my clients, is that you are a singer first, and an athlete or a fitness person second. You always have to do what is best for your voice. So that's kind of just a quick example. So let's just start broad. Okay. So like, what is training? For me, this is my definition of training. And this is what I feel is best to both cultivate your athletic abilities on stage, as well as your voice, as well as, getting the look that you want. Number one, it's improving and cultivating the ability to manage gravity. Okay. So the way that you stand, we talk a lot about the stacked position, being able to stack the rib cage atop the pelvis so we can align everything. So, we can create the best path for subglottal pressure. Strength training is going to influence that for better or worse. Okay. The way that you do cardio is going to influence that for better or worse. Okay. If you're somebody whose ribs are stuck forward, you got a big arch in your back, and you're doing something like mat Pilates, that's good, because that's going to give you the ability to control your rib cage better. So that's favorable. That's something that I would do with somebody. Again, if I have somebody with a large arch in their back, I put a barbell on their back, I'm going to push them further forward. Maybe not the best choice. Training is also a controlled stressor, which improves the body's ability to deal with stress and also produce internal pressure. Okay, so again, we talked about singing being controlled exhalation. Okay, so that means that your ability to control what's happening inside, as well as the ability to change the shape of your rib cage and your pelvis to create and control subglottal pressure, is going to greatly influence your airway. Okay, very, very important. And we can really make a big difference with that in terms of your strength training, as well as the other activities that you choose. Okay, and so the last part is a tool to improve capacity to control tension. Okay, and so strength training is great to teach your body to control tension and to produce it at the right times and to reduce it at the right times. Okay, and so I work with a lot of people that will initially over tense when they do certain things. And so the type of training that I'm going to give them initially is going to teach them to let go of tension so they can then produce